But that's all the time we have for today. Okay, let's go to Stacey Herbert. What did you think of Tyler?
Oh, it was very fascinating, considering I'm reading a story here on Bloomberg. Goldman Sachs $100 million trading days in second quarter of 2009.
Yes, tell us more.
71% of all trading days, they made more than $100 million. They made more than $50 million on 89% of trading days.
Wow, that's awfully lucky.
That's awfully lucky. And in fact, they only had losses on 2 days. This is the most amazing trading record in the history of capital markets.
Well, yeah. And the fact that they can go to Congress or to the media with a straight face and claim market omniscience and get away with it is unbelievable. If chutzpah were trading on the New York Stock Exchange, it would be trading at $146 a share. Oh, yeah, that's the price of Goldman Sachs stock. Almost.
Well, Max, very rarely in nature or in the markets do you see this sort of a performance. Usually it's associated with either somebody with insider information, a front-running, or a Ponzi scheme. As Tyler Durden there said, Bernie Madoff had an amazing track record as well.
Right, and Bernie Madoff, just to refresh people's memory, it was principally a front-running scam, I think. Or was it a Ponzi scheme? No, it was principally a Ponzi scheme. Excuse me. It was principally a Ponzi scheme where he was paying off the old investors with new investors, classic Ponzi scheme. Front-running is...
But Max, Bernie's clients thought his returns were unusual. They were unusually good as Goldman Sachs's. But they thought it could only be one of two things. It's either front-running or it's a Ponzi scheme.
Oh.
But because Bernie Madoff had the chairman of NASDAQ, they assumed he was front-running. So therefore, he was attracted. People started investing with him.
So many scandals, so few shows to cover them all. That's right. People assumed he was front-running, which is illegal.
Yeah.
But to get those kind of returns, so they didn't question him, the people who were his investors. They just assumed he was breaking the law, and they were happy to take the money anyway. So there's a tremendous poetic justice in their comeuppance. But what's being suggested here with Goldman Sachs is that it's actual front-running, and the $100 million or $200 million a day that's being siphoned off, like you would stick a hose into a gas tank and siphon money out, siphon gas out. In this case, they're siphoning money from the New York Stock Exchange. And statistics prove this. Carl Denninger, who's been on our show, he wrote a piece about this. Statistically, this is virtually impossible. People who know this space, like Zero Hedge, are pointing the finger at this and saying, look, this is just ridiculous. It really can't be. And the regulators need to be all over this. Where's the SEC? Of course, they're a captured regulator, and they are giving Goldman Sachs a big get-out-of-jail permanently free card. And anecdotally, Stacey, I don't know if you saw this story or not, but the wife of Lloyd Blankfein was recently in the Hamptons pushing people around. Get out of my way! You serfs, you slaves, get out of my way! I'm trying to shop here. I'm trying to spend your money that you gave me vis-a-vis Goldman Sachs bailout to go buy stuff that you can't afford anymore. Again, chutzpah is trading at an all-time high.
That's true. Apparently, Lloyd Blankfein's wife was in the Hamptons, and she threw a major fit, saying that she shouldn't have to wait with people who don't have as much money as her to spend.
Whatever happened to Leona Helmsley? Sounds like Leona Helmsley Part 2.
But I know we only have 2 minutes left, so I want to quickly get to another headline, which really fits in with this front-running and Ponzi scheme story, which is from the Financial Times. Wall Street banks are reaping outsized profits by trading with the Federal Reserve Bank.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, only a few banks have the exclusive privilege of trading with the Federal Reserve Bank in this system of oligarchy, where only a few insiders get these outsized profits. Now,
hey, you know what? The producer, hey, Mr. Producer, get an image of a piñata and put it up here, piñata. That's right. Basically, what they're saying is that the Fed is acting like a piñata, and these banks are just whacking it for free cash.
That's right. Well, in fact, last week you did a special about Gordon Brown's bottom. He announced to the world that he was selling gold. He sold, by announcing it, he drove the price down. This article is saying that because the Fed is announcing to the world that they're buying certain securities, well, these investment banks are buying up those securities to sell to them at overinflated prices. Now, before we go, Barney Frank, chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, said this about this outsized profit. He said, quote, "You can't rescue the credit system without benefiting some of the people in it. We don't want the Fed to drive the hardest possible bargain, but we don't want them to get ripped off." So he's saying that potential profiteering is just part of the price for stabilizing the financial system that these insiders took down.
Yeah, well, that's a slippery slope of tyranny right there. Because if you have a congressman determining what is, in fact, the difference between greasing the wheels of capitalism and what constitutes outright profiteering and fraud, and it's a completely subjective line, and no one seems to really know what qualifies as an objective differential between these two, you've got the slippery slope of tyranny washing up in your face. Well, I think that's all the time we have this week for On the Edge. I want to thank Tyler Durden, my guest from ZeroHedge.com, and, of course, Stacey Herbert. Until next time, bye, y'all.